I'm here today to talk about the 22 pieces of art that I sold in 24 months, and especially to talk about the 7 decisions that I made that helped me become a professional artist and helped me be able to do that. So the first thing that feels super important is, and the first real decision that I made in this process that really changed my life and helped me move forward, was deciding to expand my beliefs. So the opportunities that come into our lives and the things that we think are possible are pretty much based on our belief about how the world works and what is possible according to us. So one of the biggest challenges and things that I did that helped me to achieve more success in my career as an artist was to focus on really expanding my beliefs and my vision of what's possible in the art world for artists today. So an example of this is I did a show a while back and basically partnered with a musical group that's now super successful, invited a bunch of friends and family and did a house show concert. And basically no one bought my art. No one was really that interested in it, and I cried at the end of the show because I was so sad about it. And in contrast to that, a year and a half later, I was sitting talking to an artist in my local town who sells his work for $10,000, a piece, and is super successful, is supporting himself and his family off of his work, and was telling me about this amazing show where you can literally go and within 10 weeks you can make $60,000, $70,000 off of art. So the process of getting there took a long time, and I really worked at it, and I really let go of some of my thoughts about how the world worked in order to give myself the opportunity to actually lean into this whole successful art thing rather than starving artist. And I read The Artist's Way. That was my introduction to beliefs and how basically our blocks keep us stuck and keep us from the success that we want. And I also surrounded myself with successful artists and continued to look and find more and more successful people in the field so that I had examples all the time of people that were coming into my space who had personally experienced massive success in the art world. So that was the first thing, just being willing to expand my beliefs. The second was realizing that I can actually sell my art better than galleries. So I think a lot of people in the art world, a lot of artists feel like getting into a gallery is the height of their career. They're like, oh my gosh, if I could just get into a gallery, my life would be amazing. Well, I've actually worked for a gallery and I've sold art, and it's just a person, right? It's just a person doing that. And we can all do that. So my entry into this decision that I can sell my work just as well, if not better, than galleries, was I took this awesome class. It was a 4-hour class called The Art of Selling Art. And it was for artists who wanted to sell their own work. And the teacher basically laid out the step-by-step process for selling art. And obviously it takes creativity, and within the process, you have to bring your own flair. But it was the first time that I ever had anyone really show me that if you just follow these sort of rules and you just understand these principles, you can do it yourself. So the third decision that I made is that great artists are actually naturally talented business people. So I think a lot of times in the art world, I hear artists saying, well, I had to go to this show, but I just don't really having to sell my work. It just kind of feels gross. I don't like being around that environment. I like to make my art, and I don't really want to see that kind of darker side of it. Well, actually, my experience and my decision about this is that it's not that horrible. It's actually a really fun, really amazing place to express yourself. Marketing and sales and like branding are all natural to artists. This was like an amazing moment for me when I realized that in order to market myself, so I write poetry, and I didn't know what to do with my poetry. And then I realized that poetry is great marketing for an artist. It gets the message across in a different way. It sort of highlights different points that you're trying to say with your paintings. And so, yeah, just the natural gifts of artists flow so beautifully into marketing and branding. And promotion is just expressing yourself, just putting your art out into the world, just putting your marketing and branding, which is actually your creative expression, out into the world. So that was one of the decisions that I made that was super helpful for like really getting myself out there and feeling empowered that I could be a business person. And I have to say that a lot of that work, I'll link to an awesome thing on branding and archetypes, which is super cool. And then also the Milan Art Institute, which I will put a link to in this video as well, was like incredible in helping me find my voice and brand based on my voice and market based on my brand. So I'll link to all of that. So the fourth thing is that you are actually underpricing your work probably, even though you think you're overpricing it. My experience of this was that I did my first like big show at like this coffee shop in a town near me, and I invited like all my friends and family, and it was like all my local community, people I'd grown up with, people I'd known for my whole life. I sold a bunch of pieces, but then when I like talked about raising my prices for my next show, I remember like a lot of people that really loved me telling me like, I don't think that's a good idea, Camille. Like I don't think anyone's gonna be able to afford it. And like, that's really expensive. They were all doing it out of sincere like love for me and care for me and wanting me to be successful. And I'm super grateful like for their love and care. However, those like beliefs that they had about how I should price my work were just based on their experience. And as I've expanded my view through like mentorship and all these amazing things that I've brought into my life, I've realized that you can really, like, there are people at any price point. You just have to find them. As I've learned a ton more, I've talked to people who show their work in like high-end professional galleries, and if you are charging anywhere below $2,000 for a piece, it's considered rude. So the point is that you just have to find the places and the people that are a right fit for what you want to charge for your work. And if you're somewhere and you're not selling your work, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're not good. It doesn't mean that at all. What it really means is that you're just in the wrong place. And there are lots of places out in the world with people who are willing to invest in artwork and who want to be patrons for artists and who really value that. So the fifth decision that I made that was super impactful in my career as an artist was really realizing that it's so much more important to have cohesiveness over accuracy and like realism. So for the longest time, I would, try to make my work super realistic and like photographs in order to get people to go, oh, you're like really talented, so yes, I'll buy your art. So at the beginning of the Milan Art Institute, when I was just like practicing skills, we did this one exercise where we did this hyper-realistic like mini painting. Super non-expressive, but just like super accurate to teach ourselves that we could do accurate work. And I remember thinking like, this is so boring, but I'm just gonna keep doing this because I'm gonna finish this piece and I'm gonna post it on social media, and then everyone will see like how talented I am and everyone will want to buy all my work. Ironically, I posted it and I posted a bunch of other more expressive pieces where I was learning other things about like different mediums, and the hyper-realistic piece was one of the only ones that didn't sell from that series of works. The things that people really loved were the pieces that were an expression of who I am. and had like all these like loose strokes and like expressive palette knife flicks and things like that. And similarly, I did this painting challenge called the 100 Painting Challenge. I will also link to it because it's amazing. Taught by my mentor, Ellie Milan, and my other mentor, Dimitra Milan. She has done it many times from the Milan Art Institute. So you basically just like do 100 paintings in 3 days where you just like express yourself, and it's all abstracts because like you don't have time for realism. And I was like, oh, nobody will be interested in these. So I just posted them thinking like, okay, I'll offer them out. Those sold so fast, I'm telling you, like everyone wanted them. Everyone thought they were so incredibly beautiful. So the point is that realizing it's about like having a cohesive body of work. It's not about like what details you can get and like if you can make like a face look like perfectly like a face. Like those are benefits just to be able to have in your toolbox. But really, selling a body of work is about that, just that it's about having a body of work that is cohesive, that has a voice, that you can talk about in a way that makes sense, that has more than just the painting, has something behind it. And so finding your voice and having a cohesive body of work is just so incredibly important, way, way more important than realism or detail or things like that. And the sixth decision I made was realizing that production, so making art, production of art is just a muscle. So for the longest time I was like, how am I ever going to be a professional? I can only paint like one painting a month. I'm going to have to sell these things for like $10,000, $15,000 to like make a living. Also with my mentor, Ellie, who I've been working with over the past year at the Milan Art Institute in the mastery program, she really helped me, her and her daughter Dimitra, who's also an amazing mentor, they helped me to realize that I can build that muscle of production. So we started and she was just like, you gotta do 2 paintings a week. And at first that was really hard for me, but I was like, okay, I'll try. So I just started getting better and better and better at doing 2 paintings a week. And then eventually she's like, okay, we're gonna do 8 paintings in 1 week. It's gonna be a production week and we're just gonna do 8 paintings in a week. And I was like, how am I ever gonna do this? But you know what? I did it. I did it because I challenged myself and I wanted to do it, and it was actually not that hard. It was actually super fun. All you have to do is just keep building those muscles, keep painting, and you'll get faster and faster and faster to the point where you can make 2 paintings a week. And once you can do that, you don't have to sell your paintings for $15,000 in order to make a living. Because you've got 8 paintings every month. And then the last thing, the 7th decision that I made was that mentorship is one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself as an artist. So there was this amazing moment a while ago where I was at a gallery, and the gallery owner told me, like, she's like, go out and like find mentors. And so I went on this amazing search. I started following all these people on Instagram. I started like going to open houses, and I went to one open house and I met this artist, and he was a teacher too. So I was like thinking about taking his classes, and I was asking him questions. And what he told me was profound as well. He said, find a mentor that has the results you want and is making the kind of work you want to create. And when you find that person, do whatever you need to do to work with them. And I found that person in the Milan Art Institute. Ellie and Dimitra are both amazing artists that create beautiful work. They had just started their first online mastery program. It was actually a month into the program, and I was like, he told me to do whatever I had to do. And that was literally the best decision I've ever made. I've sold 16 pieces, I think, while in the program, and that has been amazing. And and then I have all these tools that I can now launch myself even farther in my career. And so I'll put a link to that as well. I really hope this helped you. These 7 decisions that I made were powerful in changing my life. And so I just want to bestow them upon you all so that you can have those decisions in your toolbox as well.